Hello friends, DigiPump has come up with multiple products to address the water automation need of the residential homes, and how these products is going to help you I'm going to explain in this presentation to you. So its primarily basic idea is that whenever the water level in your overhead tank goes below a certain threshold, maybe half or one fourth, whatever you said, it automatically starts the motor, and whenever the tank is full, it automatically stops the motor. You can, apart from the sensors based triggers, you can also program it based on the timing schedules. So for you can program the timing schedules like every morning 7 o'clock motor should start and 8 o'clock the motor should stop. So you can program the timers also. Let's see how what are these products and how they are going to help in your use cases. So primarily we divide it into two categories. One is where you use the capacitor based starters. It can be a single capacitor based starter, it can be a dual capacitor based starter, primarily used for the submersible pump and say open well pump. And on the other hand, you have a motor pump like monoblock pump that you use to transport say municipality water or the sump tank water to the overhead tank, and you just need a 3-pin plug. You just need a phase and neutral, a 3-pin top plugged into any 16 ampere socket, and you can start your motor. So we have a different solution for these kind of motors and a different solution to replace these kind of panels. Let's see what are those. So here if you see in this example, we have a submersible pump and this is a submersible starter that we are going to replace with our panel. So this panel has complete capacitor etc built into itself. So it does not need to be connected with this. It's a complete replacement of this. You can just connect the motor wire and the input phase and neutral supply to the panel directly. And it also provides you connectivity of the sensors that you will deploy in the overhead tank. Similarly, for the monoblock pump where you can just start with the 3-pin top uh, or with the phase and neutral, we provide a panel in which we provide the 16 ampere socket, and you can just plug in your motor 3-pin top to this socket, and you can start and stop motor based on the sensor, manual control or the timer. So we provide four type of sensor connectivity in our system. Two sensors are deployed in the overhead tank. We call it as a overhead empty and overhead full sensor. They indicate when the tank is empty and when the tank is full. The third, these are basically sensor to trigger the motor, when to start the motor and when to stop the motor. There are two more sensors that we provide support for, as a sump empty sensor. Basically this sensor is deployed in the sump tank, or sometimes people call it as a underground or basement tank where you store the water, and from the underground water tank you basically transport water to the overhead tank as and when needed. So to protect the dry run in the sump, suppose your sump is empty and your overhead is empty, the motor will start because since the overhead is empty, and it will keep running because there is no water in the sump tank. So to protect against the dry run, the sump tank empty sensor is used, and whenever it detects that sump is also does not have the water, so even the overhead is empty, it will not start the motor. Similarly, pipe sensor is used when there is a say municipality water supply, and you start the motor when the tank is empty, the motor is running, and suddenly the water goes and your tank is still not full. The motor will keep running until it's full. So to protect against the dry run, because the water is not coming now from the municipality supply, so you need to stop the motor when there is no water in the pipe. So that can be detected with this pipe sensor. So you can say this sump empty and the pipe sensor is basically to protect against the dry run, whereas the overhead full and overhead empty is primarily to start and stop the motor. We provide two types of sensor connectivity. One is the wired connectivity and one is the wireless connectivity. In the wired connectivity, you need to bring three wires from overhead tank to wherever you install the starter panel or starter panel. So these three wires can be connected through a single 3-core cable, or say Cat 5, Cat 6 cable, and you use 3 wire of that to connect from the overhead tank to our starter panel. Then in the wireless system, you do not need to run any wire from the overhead tank to the panel. There is a wireless protocol implemented, so you need to have additional component which is wireless transmitter installed on the overhead tank, and the sensor will be connected to that only. So no wire will come from the transmitter to the receiver. Is already built into our starter panel. So whenever it detects empty and full, it sends the signal instead of wired. It sends the signal through wireless, and that is received with the panel. So this wireless connectivity provide you a hassle-free installment where you do not need to worry about the wiring. So let's discuss what are the use cases that we solve with these new products. So depending upon different needs, you might need a different solutions. So every user may have a different need, and what kind of needs that we think that people might have, we designed our solution based on that. So there is a use case where you do not have any sump tank or the bore well. You just have a municipality water supply, and you directly store it in the overhead tank. So that is one use case where you want to start the motor to maybe at a specified time whenever the water comes, and then stop whenever the tank is full. The another scenario is where you do not have a municipality water supply, but you have a borewell and you want to fill your overhead tank from the borewell. The third use case is when the you have a sump tank. Sump tank is basically, sometime people call it as a underground tank or the basement tank, where you store the water temporarily, maybe from the municipality water or from the borewell, and then slowly, when as and when needed, you transport this sump tank water to the overhead tank, doing the top up. So we have a separate solutions for this setup. Then if you just need a scheduled time based start and stop without any sensors, we have a solution for that also, because we have a built-in timer clock and the battery inside to maintain that clock. So that clock will run independent of anything, and you can start and stop once programmed. You can start and stop the motor automatically without worrying anything. Then we have use cases where customer has the two motors. One motor is, for example, is used to basically top up the overhead tank from the sump tank. So it might be a monoblock motor that is basically transporting water from the sump tank to the overhead tank, but also to fill up the sump tank, they have another motor that may be the municipality water to the sump tank, or it may be a borewell to the sump tank. So that is one case where you have a sump tank and you have two motors. There is another use case of the dual motor is where you store the municipality water directly into your overhead tank, and you also have a borewell. So suppose you someday water does not come from the municipality, as a backup you want to start the borewell automatically if the tank is empty. So in this dual motor case, whenever there is no water in the tank and no water coming from the municipality, then start the submersible pump or borewell pump to basically fill up your overhead tank. So for dual motor, we have two cases, with some tank and without some tank. Then we also have a three-phase support for the three-phase motor and three-phase submersible pump. That can be a DOL starter, or it can be star delta starter. So you can control those starters from our solution. So all previous solution that we discussed, single phase solution, you need to replace your existing starter with our product, our panel. In the three phase case, we are not going to replace your existing starter. Maybe it's a dual starter or it's a star delta starter. We are going to control your existing three phase starter with our panel. So it will work with your three-phase starter. It's not going to replace it. Current will still flow through your three-phase starter, but its control, start and stop functionality will be controlled through our controller panel. And you can have a different case like for three-phase motor to fill up your overhead tank, so you need a sensor. Or if you are using three-phase motor to for agriculture use where there is no overhead tank, but you want it to start or stop at a specified time, so just you need the time scheduling without any sensor. So that is also supported. So this is all about the sensor. Let's see. So for any technical query, you can, if it's not clear in this presentation, as far as the use cases are concerned, you can contact us on this number technical for the technical query. And if you want to be our partner, you want to install it, you want to resell it, there will be a margin for the resellers. So you can contact our sales team at this number 98116822214. They will help you with the sales related query. I will help you on this number for your technical queries. Thank you.